They got that whole section where our people walked through Saudi Arabia during the Exodus, because they put up pillars and altars and all kinds of things back there. If you try to go back there, the Saudi government will behead you. So you see how far they will go. Yahweh. They wrote it all over these pillars. And I got also coming up, and this will probably be sometime this week, the chariot wheels from the Egyptians when they chased our people crossing the Red Sea when it was parted. And I want you guys to think about the hurricane when the water receded. Now you should be able to see and understand the Exodus had to be true. You saw how the water receded all away from the coastline and you could no longer see the water. So that right there should tell you, yes, it is not impossible to believe that the Most High parted the Red Sea, as he told us. We already saw evidence of oceans of water being receded. And you could literally go out there and walk on the ocean floor. Well, there are pictures, ladies and gentlemen, of the chariot wheels on the bottom of the ocean from the Egyptians chasing our people after they left. It is there. And I'm going to show you those as well. I'm going to probably get to that by tomorrow. Wheels, they found chariot wheels. They found the horses' hooves down there, where Pharaoh and his army chased our people. And as soon as they got running on the ocean floor with their horses, the Most High let the water loose and drowned them all. So you can see, yes, and actually some parts of the chariot is still down in that part of the world in the ocean, in the Red Sea. So I will show you those pictures as well. By the time I get done, if you had doubts, I think those doubts will go away. I really do. King Herod, what do I want to tell you? Masada, that whole area has a history. It's different parts of it where you saw King Herod's castle. That's just one part of it. It's a lot more. There's like fortresses that are spoken about in the Bible that can be found there. Another one that I'm going to be doing for you this week is the wall in Jericho. That's still there. The different walls that were up. Remember Joshua and the walls in Jericho? Those walls are still there. Still there. So I will get those along with many other things. So I got a lot of things on the horizon that I'm going to be showing you in the coming weeks, this week as well as next week. Because their goal is to, my greatness is for us to always stay in a subservient state and not know who we are. If we don't know who we are, then we're not going to rise up. And that's the thing. They have to keep us from finding out who we are so we don't rise up against them. That's what they're afraid of if we find out. So, yeah, they get to the point where they kill people for telling us the truth. So that's just the way it is. Yeah. Yeah, the walls are still there. So I'm going to be showing you that. I'm going to be showing you the chariot wheels in the bottom of the Red Sea. So it's a lot more that I want to show you. I want to show you where Queen Esther and Mordecai are buried. Their tombs are over there. So you'll know, the book of Esther, you'll know where Esther is. You'll be able to see her actual tomb. Yeah, You're welcome, Robin the Girl Wonder. So I'm going to go now. It was a pleasure spending time with you as usual. And we will meet again. Plus, I have to still have my hangout for my patrons, which is coming real soon. Because my patrons and we're going to be going over gardening. Because this is really the time you should be buying your seeds. So we're going to be going over gardening in deep detail. But thank you, family. For coming. And I really enjoyed this hangout like I always do. And we will meet again. We'll have another hangout this coming week. Peace, family.
Hello.
Hi, so glad you're here. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm doing great, and you?
Good, good. We're going to start out by listening to the Testament of Solomon.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how familiar you are with that.
I'm not extremely familiar. I know about Solomon's life, and
Uh,
my favorite from him is Ecclesiastes, but I'm not in depth about his life.
well, this is when, this is why I wanted to have you on here talking about spiritual attacks,
Mhm.
because Solomon in the Testament of Solomon, he actually handles 72 demons, male
Oh,
and female. And he has such control over them. He's making them build his temple. It's actually kind of funny. And what the Most High does to help him, he sends the angel Michael down with a special ring that's going to
mhm.
allow him to control these demons. And what Solomon was doing, actually, he was trying to eradicate this world of the demons, because they were attacking people that he even cared about. And some of these demons actually appear more than one time. Now, there's one in here called Asmodeus, and he appears in the book of Tobit as well. Now, Tobit was trying to marry a woman. Her name was Sarah. She had 7 husbands that were killed by the same demon. This demon wanted her. He was infatuated with her. So every time she would go into the marriage chamber with her new husband, he would come in there, this demon, and would strangle him. So
Wow.
the Most High sent the angel Raphael to help Tobit get rid of this demon because Sarah just couldn't get rid of him. She
Mhm.
tried, she was praying, but she didn't know what to do. So what they did was they set up a plan because demons apparently did not like the smell of certain fish parts. So
Mhm.
he had him go into the marriage chamber with the heart and liver of the fish and burn it so that when the demon ran out from the smell of it, Raphael was able to grab him and chain him up and take him far away until the day of judgment. Well, this demon appears before Solomon again. So there are a few that you'll hear more than once throughout the Bible. They some of them make more than one appearance. So
Mhm.
it's really interesting. But one moral of the story is Solomon is showing us not to be afraid of these evil spirits
Yes.
and stand up to them and don't show any fear. Because if you don't show any fear, you can get rid of them.
Mhm.
That's what I love about the story. And I think you will enjoy it.
Mhm. I was reading up on it earlier today because I always knew about King Solomon,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't know about his life in depth. So I'm excited to listen. I
So
really am.
Solomon was a very, you can tell Solomon was beyond his years as far as his intelligence was concerned. Remember, he was the wisest man on earth in his time.
Yes.
Solomon messed up when he took on 700 wives and he started marrying women of different tribes. And he started marrying women that were really considered our enemy.
Mhm.
See, what happened was he started worshiping the same gods that these foreign wives were worshiping. And that
Yes.
fell out of favor with the Most High. But up until that point, he was very much favored upon.
Mhm.
And that's where he messed up.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
just took on too many women and he stepped outside of Hebrew women and it literally destroyed him.
Mm.
Just like it's destroying our men now.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of men defend polygamy. a lot of them
They
defend it.
defend polygamy, they defend interracial dating, oh,
Hmm.
the whole 9 yards. And the thing is, all of that's going to get sorted out,
Yeah.
at the end. But we are battling so many things right now, it's not even funny. And it's
Oh, it's not.
mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to start out by listening to the Testament of Solomon. Now, some of you may be familiar with this story in the chat. Some of you may not. But if you're not, then that's good. This will be a great learning experience. Now, the moral of this story is Solomon was granted certain powers over the demons. And there are a total of 72 demons that revealed themselves to Solomon. And you're going to find out a lot of your illnesses are actually demons.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your different moods that you go through in your life, those are demons. And and when you listen to this, you're going to be, oh my God, I remember having a sore throat. That was a demon? Yes. It's going to blow you away if you did not know these things. Another thing it's going to reveal is how Solomon stands up to these spirits. And this is really important because in these last days, spiritual attacks are going to ramp up. And you have to be prepared for those things. Now, what these demons want to do, they want to take over your body. See, they don't want a body that doesn't have a soul. They want a body that have a soul. And us as Israelites, we have a soul. And we're full human. That's what they want. They want a soul. So we have to keep fighting them off. And another thing, they don't want you to make it into the kingdom. So they're going to try to derail as many of us as possible. These spirits will not always manifest themselves. Now, I know some people have told me they've seen shadows, and when they were under a spiritual attack, and some know the presence is there, but they don't see anything, which is in my case. I know it's there, but I don't see anything. Right, sleep paralysis, right. That is one of the things that happens to you during a spiritual attack. But because your mind is still awakened, you can still fight it off. I have done it before. And I have gone through the sleep paralysis, and then all of a sudden I hear something in the room with me. Now, most of my attacks always come in the middle of the night. Now, I know I have met some people that said they get some during the day. I have never had one during the day. It's always at night. I guess they come around when they think I'm going to be afraid. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not with you. Because I know you've gone through spiritual attacks too, warrior.
For me, they come on at different times.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter whether it's during the day or during the night, but it's like they're almost trying to they are trying to attack my identity
Yes.
and my destiny in the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I could feel it's almost like a presence holds you down in the spiritual realm.
Yes.
That's what happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I could literally be saying, like, yelling at the top of my voice, speaking the word of God, casting them down.
Uh-huh.
So for me, it can happen throughout the day or the night. It doesn't matter. And sometimes it lasts over weeks.
Now, let me tell you something that has worked for me, Warrior Constance. What I do now, and I notice it has lessened my attacks, I now play the Bible real low, either on my phone or on my computer at night. and I notice I have less visits now. And I've been doing that. I have been doing like the book of Psalms, because the book of Psalms is, nearly 5 hours. Or I'll do the book of Jubilees, which is one that's about 13 hours long. And I've been doing that. I've been playing the audio Bible on low. And
that does work.
And it has been working out. I mean, before it was almost like every couple of weeks an attack came. Every couple of weeks another one came. But ever since I started doing that at night, now they're a lot more rare for me. So I don't know if that's something you've ever tried.
Yes, that is something I've tried, listening to the word as I go to sleep, but I was just doing it for like knowledge, and so it could be in my spirit, but never really during an attack.
Right.
So I'm gonna definitely do that in the future.
Yeah, yeah. And I started doing that, like, I would say like late last year. And like I said, it has been almost dwindled down to hardly no visits now.
Wow.
So I have noticed it has made a difference. So I'm going to, without further ado, we're going to start the Testament of Solomon. You're going to learn a lot from this. You really are. And some of you might have even heard these demon names, like in the movie, The Exorcist. Some of these same demon names are actually mentioned in the movie The Exodus. Exorcist. Yeah. So, Hollywood knows this stuff. That's the thing. They've always known. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. It's going to be about an hour. So, and then we're going to get into a deeper discussion about spiritual attacks. Okay.
The Testament of Solomon. Testament of Solomon, son of David, who reigned in Jerusalem and subdued all the spirits of the air, of the earth, and under the earth. Through them he also accomplished all the magnificent works of the temple. This tells what their authorities are against men, and by what angels these demons are thwarted. Blessed are you, Lord God, who has given this authority to Solomon. Glory and power to you forever. Amen. Once upon a time, when the temple of the city of Jerusalem was being built and the artisans were working in it, Onias the demon came as the sun was setting and took half of the wages and the provisions of the master workman's little boy. Also each day the demon was sucking the thumb of the boy's right hand. So the little boy, who was much loved by me, grew thin. But I, Solomon, interrogated the boy one day and said to him, have I not loved you more than all the other artisans working in the temple of God? And have I not been paying you double wages and provisions? Why then are you growing thinner every day? And the boy said, I beg you, king, listen to what is happening to me. After we are dismissed from work on the temple of God, when the sun has set and I am resting, an evil spirit comes and makes off with half my pay and half my provisions. He also grabs my right hand and sucks my thumb. You can see that when my soul is in distress, my body grows thinner every day. When I, Solomon, heard these things, I went into the temple of God and, praising him night and day, begged with all my soul that the demon might be delivered into my hands and that I might have authority over him. Then it happened that while I was praying to the God of heaven and earth, there was granted me from the Lord Sabaoth through the archangel Michael a ring which had a seal engraved on precious stone. He said to me, Solomon, son of David, take the gift which the Lord God, the highest Sabaoth, has sent to you. With it you shall imprison all the demons, both female and male. With their help you shall build Jerusalem when you bear this seal of God. Now I became so joyful that I continually sang hymns of praise to the God of heaven and earth and glorified him. The next day I ordered the child to come to me, and I gave the seal to him. And then I said to him, at the moment the demon appears to you, fling this ring into his chest and say to him, come, Solomon summons you, and come running back to me as fast as you can before he says anything that would frighten you. Now it happened that at his usual time, the pesky demon, Onias, came like a flaming fire, to take the little boy's pay, as was his custom. According to Solomon's instructions to him, the little boy flung the ring into the chest of the demon and said to him, "Come, Solomon summons you." And he started to take off running to Solomon as fast as he could go. But the demon screamed and said to the little boy, "Why have you done this? Remove the ring and give it back to Solomon, and I shall give you all the silver and gold of the earth." But the little boy replied, "As the Lord God of Israel lives, I will never withstand you if I do not deliver you to Solomon." Then the little boy went and spoke to Solomon. "King Solomon, I brought the demon to you just as you commanded me. Observe how he is standing bound in front of the gates outside, crying out with a great voice to give me all the silver and gold of the earth, so that I would not deliver him to you." When I heard these things, I, Solomon, got up from my throne and saw the demon shuddering and trembling with fear. I said to him, "Who are you? What is your name?" The demon replied, "I am called Ornias." I said to him, "Tell me, in which sign of the zodiac do you reside?" And the demon replied, "In Aquarius. I strangle those who reside in Aquarius because of their passion for women, whose zodiacal sign is Virgo. Moreover, while in a trance, I undergo 3 transformations. Sometimes I am a man who craves the bodies of effeminate boys. When I touch them, they suffer great pain. Sometimes I become a creature with wings, flying up to the heavenly regions. Finally, I assume the appearance of a lion. In addition, I am descended from an archangel of the power of God, but I am thwarted by Uriel, the archangel." When I, Solomon, heard the archangel's name mentioned, I honored and glorified the God of heaven and earth. After I sealed the demon with my seal, I ordered him into the stone quarry to cut for the temple stones which had been transported by way of the Arabian Sea and dumped along the seashore. But being terrified to touch iron, he said to me, "I beg you, King Solomon, let me have a measure of freedom, and I shall bring up all the demons." Since he did not want to be subject to me, I prayed that the archangel Uriel would come to help me. Immediately I saw the archangel Uriel descending to me from heaven. The angel commanded sea monsters to arise out of the sea, and he withered up their species and cast his fate to the ground. In this same way, he also subjected the great demon Ornias to cut stones and to bring to completion the construction of the temple which I, Solomon, was in the process of building. Again, I glorified the God of heaven and earth and commanded Ornias to come near according to his fate. Then I gave him the seal and said, "Go and bring here to me the prince of demons." Ornias took the ring and went up to Beelzebul and said to him, "Come, Solomon summons you." But Beelzebul said to him, "Tell me, who is this Solomon of whom you speak?" Then Ornias flung the ring into the chest of Beelzebul and replied, "Solomon the king summons you." Beelzebul cried out like one who was burned from a great burning fire of flame. And when he had gotten up, he followed Ornias under coercion and came to me. When I saw the prince of demons approaching, I glorified God and said, "Blessed are you, Lord God Almighty, who has granted to your servant Solomon wisdom, the attendant of your thrones, and who has placed in subjection all the power of the demons." Then I interrogated him and said, "Tell me who you are." The demon said, "I am Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons." I demanded that without interruption he sit next to me and explain the manifestations of the demons. Then he promised to bring me all the unclean spirits bound. Again, I glorified the God of heaven and earth, continually giving thanks to him. I now asked the demon if there were any female demons. When he replied that there were, I said, I wanted to see one. Beelzebul went off and showed me Onosculus, who had a very beautiful form. Her body was that of a woman with a fair complexion, but her legs were like those of a mule. When she came to me, I said to her, "Tell me who you are." She responded, "My name is Onosculus. I am a spirit which has been made into a body. I recline in a den on the earth. I make my home in caves. However, I have a many-sided character. Sometimes I strangle men. Sometimes I pervert them from their true natures. Most of the time, my habitats are cliffs, caves, and ravines. Frequently, I also associate with men who think of me as a woman, especially with those whose skin is honey-colored, for we are of the same constellation. It is also true that they worship my star secretly and openly. They do not know that they deceive themselves and excite me to be an evildoer all the more, for they want to obtain gold by remembering me. But I grant little to those who seriously worship me. Next, I asked her how she came into being. She said, I was generated from an unexpected voice, which is called the voice of the echo of a black heaven, emitted in matter. I said to her, by what heavenly body do you travel? She replied, by the full moon, because by the moon I pass over more things. Then I said, what angel thwarts you? She responded, one that is also in you, king. Now, because I thought these remarks were meant in ridicule, I commanded the soldier to strike her, but she cried out in a loud voice, I say to you, king, by God's wisdom, I have been entrusted to your power. So I uttered the name of the Holy One of Israel and commanded her to spin the hemp for the ropes used in the construction of the temple of God. She was sealed and bound in such a way that she was made powerless, so that she had to stand day and night to spin the hemp. I commanded another demon to be brought to me, and Beelzebul brought me an evil demon Asmodeus, bound. I asked him, who are you? He scowled at me and said, and who are you? And I said to him, you dare to answer so arrogantly when you have been punished like this? He continued to give forth the same look and said to me, how should I answer you? You are the son of a man. For although I was born of a human mother, I am the son of an angel. It is impossible for one of heavenly origin to speak an arrogant word to one of earthly origin. My constellation is like an animal which reclines in its den in heaven. Some men call me the Great Bear, but others the offspring of a dragon. Moreover, a smaller constellation accompanies my constellation, for the high position and throne of my father is always in the sky. So do not ask me so many things, Solomon, for eventually your kingdom will be divided. This glory of yours is temporary. You have us to torture for a little while, then we shall disperse among human beings again, with the result that we shall be worshipped as gods, because men do not know the names of the angels who rule over us. When I, Solomon, heard this thing, I bound him with a greater curse. Then I ordered him to be flogged with a rod and to defend himself by stating his name and reporting his activity. The demon stated, I am the renowned Asmodeus. I cause the wickedness of men to spread throughout the world. I am always hatching plots against newlyweds. I mar the beauty of virgins and cause their hearts to grow cold. I said to him, is that all you do? He spoke again. I spread madness about women through the stars, and I have often committed a rash of murders. Then I adjured him by the name of the Lord Sabaoth. Asmodeus, fear God, and tell me by which angel you are thwarted. The demon said, Raphael, the one who stands before God, but also a liver and a gall of a fish or smoking coals of charcoal drives me away. Then I asked him again, saying, do not hide anything from me, for I am Solomon, son of David. Tell me the name of the fish you fear. He replied, it is called the sheet fish. It is found in the rivers of Assyria, and it is hatched only there. I am also found in those parts. I said to him, is there not something else about you, Asmodeus? He said to me, the power of God which binds me with unbreakable bonds by his seal knows that what I have related to you is true. I beg you, King Solomon, do not condemn me to water. But I smiled and replied, as the Lord, the God of my father, lives, you shall have irons to wear, and you shall mold clay for all the vessels of the temple, eliminating the cost of the mold. And then I ordered 10 water jars to be made available, and I commanded him to be encircled by them. Though he complained bitterly, the demon carried out all things which he had been commanded. Asmodeus did this because he also had knowledge of the future, So I, Solomon, glorified God, who gave me this authority. Then, taking the liver and the gall of the fish, along with the branch of storax, I lit a fire under Asmodeus, because he was powerful, and his voice was thwarted, as well as a tooth full of venom. Then I summoned Beelzebul to appear before me again. When he was seated, I thought it appropriate to ask him, "Why are you alone, the prince of demons?" He replied, "Because I am the only one left of the heavenly angels who fell. I was the highest ranking angel in heaven, the one called Beelzebul. There also accompanied me another ungodly angel whom God cut off and now imprisoned here. He holds in his power the rates of those bound by me in Tartarus. He is being nurtured in the Red Sea. When he is ready, he will come in triumph." I said to him, "What are your activities?" He replied, "I bring destruction by means of tyrants. I cause the demons to be worshipped alongside men, and I arouse desire in holy men and select priests. I bring about jealousies and murders in a country, and I instigate wars." Then I said to him, "Bring to me the one you said is being nurtured in the Red Sea." He retorted, "I will bring no one back to you, but there will come a certain demon whose name is Ephipas, who will bind him and bring him up out of the abyss." I responded, "Tell me why he is in the abyss of the Red Sea and what his name is." He, however, said, "Do not ask me. You are not able to learn that from me. He will come to you because I too am with you." So I said to him, "Tell me in which star you reside." "The one called by men the evening star," he said. Then I said, "Tell me which angel thwarts you." "The Almighty God," he replied. "He is called by the Hebrews Patiger, the one who descends from the heights. He is called by the Greeks Emmanuel. I am always afraid of him and trembling. If anyone adjures me with an oath called the Eloi, a great name for his power, I disappear." Now when I, Solomon, heard these things, I commanded him to cut blocks of ebon marble. As he was beginning to cut, all the demons cried out with a loud voice, because he was their king, Beelzebul. Nevertheless, I, Solomon, persisted in interrogating him, saying, "If you wish to obtain a release, inform me about heavenly things." Beelzebul replied, "Listen, king, if you burn oil of myrrh, frankincense, and bulbs of the sea, along with spikenard and saffron, and light 7 lamps during an earthquake, you will strengthen your house. And it being ritually clean, you light them at the crack of dawn, just before the sun comes up. You will see the heavenly dragons and the way they wriggle along and pull the chariot of the sun." When I, Solomon, heard these things, I rebuked him and said, "Be silent, and continue cutting marble just as I ordered you." After I praised God, I, Solomon, requested the presence of another demon, and he appeared before me. He was bearing his face on the air high above, and the remaining part of his body was crawling along like a little snail. Suddenly he broke through a large contingent of soldiers, raised up a blustering cloud of dust from the earth, transported it upward, and hurled it against me many times. While I watched in amazement, I exclaimed, "What do we have here?" But this continued for a long time. When I stood up, I spat on the ground at that spot, and I sealed him with the ring of God. As a result, the moving air stopped. Then I asked him, saying, "Who are you?" After he had stirred up another cloud of dust, he answered me, "What do you want, King Solomon?" I answered him, "Tell me what you are called. Also, I want to interrogate you." Thus, I give thanks to God who instructs me as to how to respond to their evil plots. So the demon said to me, "I am called Lix Tetrax." "What is your activity?" I queried. He responded, "I create divisions among men. I make whirlwinds. I start fires. I set fields on fire, and I make households non-functional. Usually I carry on my activity in the summertime. If I get a chance, I slither in under the corners of the house during the day or night. I am the direct offspring of the Great One." I asked him, "In which constellation do you reside?" He replied, "Toward the very tip of the horn of the moon when it is found in the south. There is my star. Therefore I was assigned to draw out the fever which strikes for a day and a half. As a result, many men, when they see this, pray about the day and a half fever, invoking these three names, Baltala, Thalal, Melkal, and I healed him." Then I, Solomon, said to him, "But when you wish to do evil, who grants you the power?" He replied, "The angel by whom also the day and a half fever is stopped." Finally, I asked him, "By what name are you thwarted?" He responded, "The name of the archangel Azael." Then I placed my seal on the demon and commanded him to pick up stones and hurl them up to the heights of the temple for the workmen. Compelled, the demon complied with his orders. Again, I glorified God, who gave me this authority, and I commanded another demon to appear before me. There came 7 spirits bound up together, hand and foot, fair and form and graceful. When I, Solomon, saw them, I was amazed and asked them, "Who are you?" They replied, "We are heavenly bodies, rulers of the world of darkness." The first said, "I am deception." The second said, "I am strife." The third said, "I am fate." The fourth said, "I am distress." The fifth said, "I am error." The sixth said, "I am power." The seventh said, "I am the worst." Our stars in heaven look small, but we are named like gods. We change our position together as we live together. Sometimes in Lydia, sometimes in Olympus, sometimes on the great mountain. Then I, Solomon, continued questioning them, beginning with the first. "Tell me what you do." He responded, "I am deception. I plot deception, and I devise the most evil heresies. But there is one who thwarts me, the angel, Lemichiel." The second said, "I am strife. I cause strife by making available clubs, pellets, and swords, my implements of war. But I have an angel who thwarts me, Baruchael." Likewise the third said, "I am called fate. I cause every man to fight in battle, rather than make peace honorably with those who are winning. But why am I talking so much? There is an angel who thwarts me, Marmaroth." The fourth, distressed, said, "I cause men to lack moderation. I divide them into factions. I keep them separated. Since strife follows in my footsteps, I set men against each other and do many other similar things to them. But why am I talking so much? There is an angel who thwarts me, the great Balthuel." The fifth said, "I am error, King Solomon, and I am leading you into error. And I led you into error when I made you kill your brothers. I lead people into error by hunting for graves, and I teach them how to dig them up. I lead men's minds astray from religion, and I do many other bad things. However, there is an angel who thwarts me, Uriel." Likewise, the sixth said, "I am power. I raise up tyrants. I depose kings, and I grant power to all those who are enemies. There is an angel who thwarts me, Astaroth." Similarly, the seventh said, "I am the worst, and you, king, I shall harm when I order you to be bound with the bounds of Artemis, because these things affect you. You have desire like a beloved one. But to me, that is a desire which corresponds to myself, which is wisdom. For if anyone is wise, he will not follow in my steps." But I, Solomon, when I heard these things, sealed them with the ring of God, and commanded them to dig the foundation of the temple. It stretched out 250 cubits in length. So all the things which were commanded them were accomplished. Again I asked that other demons visit me in succession, and there was brought to me a demon, a man who had all his limbs but no head. I said to him, "Tell me who you are and what you are called." The demon replied, "I am called Mirror, for I devour heads, wishing to get a head for myself. but I do not consume enough. I long for a head to do exactly what you do, king. When I heard these things, I stretched out my hand against his chest and put my seal on him. Then the demon jumped up, tore himself loose, and muttered, saying, Woe is me! How did I fall in with a traitor, Ornias? I do not see. So I said to him, How is it possible for you to see? He replied, Through my breasts. When I, Solomon, heard the delight in his voice, I wished to learn more. So I asked him, How is it possible for you to speak? He responded, My voice has taken over the voices from many men, for I have closed up the heads of those young men who are called dumb. When infants are 10 days old, and if one cries during the night, I become a spirit, and I rush in and attack the infant through his voice. What is more, my visit to premature infants is harmful. My strength happens to reside in my hands. That is, like that which takes place at an executioner's block. I grab hold of heads, cut them off, and attach them to myself. Then, by the fire which is continually burning in me, I consume them through my neck. I am the one who inflames the limbs, inflicts the feet, and produces festering sores. It is by a fiery flash of lightning that I am thwarted. I ordered him to stay with Beelzebul until the time when a friend might arrive. Then I ordered another demon to make his presence before me. He came before me in the form of a gigantic dog, and he spoke to me in a loud voice. Hail, O King Solomon! I was astounded and said to him, Who are you, dog? He said, You suppose that I am a dog, but before your time, king, I was a man. I accomplished many unlawful deeds in the world, and I was so extremely strong that I restrained the stars of heaven, and now I am preparing more evil works. Consequently, I deceive men who follow my star closely, and I lead them into stupidity. I also subdue the hearts of men through their throats, and in this way I destroy them. I said to him, What is your name? He replied, Scepter. Then I said to him, What is your activity, and why do you seem to me to be so prosperous? The demon said, Turn over your manservant to me, and I shall spirit him off to the place in the mountains, where I shall show him an emerald stone shaken loose from its foundation. With it you will adorn the temple of God. When I heard these things, I immediately ordered my household servant to accompany him, and to take the ring bearing God's seal with him. I told him, Go with him, and whoever shows you the emerald stone, seal him with the ring. Observe the place in detail, and bring the ring back to me. So when the demon went out and showed him the emerald stone, the household servant sealed him with the ring of God, and brought the emerald stone back to me. I then decided to have the two demons, the headless one and the dog, bound, and to request that the stone be carried about day and night, like, as it were, a light for the working artisans. Next, I extracted from that moving stone 200 shekels for the supports of the altar, for the stone was shaped like a leek. Then I, Solomon, when I had glorified the Lord God, locked up the treasure chest containing the stone, and commanded the demons to cut marble for the construction of the temple. Also, I asked the dog in private, By which angel are you thwarted? He replied, By the great Briathos. I commanded another demon to come before me. He came roaring like a stately lion, and he took his place and questioned me by word. King Solomon, I have this particular form, and am a spirit which can never be bound. I am one who sneaks in and watches over all who are lying ill with a disease, and I make it impossible for man to recover from his taint. I have another authority. I involve the legions of demons subject to me, for I am the places where they are when the sun is setting. The name for all demons which are under me is Legion. And then I asked him, What is your name? He replied, The Lion-Shaped Demon, an Arab by descent. So I said to him, How are you and your demons thwarted? That is, who is your angel? The demon said, If I tell you his name, I place not only myself in chains, but also the legion of demons under me. So I said to him, I adjure you by the name of the great God Most High. By what name are you and your demons thwarted? The demon said, by the name of the one who at one time submitted to suffer many things at the hands of men, whose name is Emmanuel. But now he has bound us, and he will come to torture us by driving us into the water at the cliff. As he moves about, he is conjured up by means of 3 letters. So I sentenced his legion to carry wood from the grove of trees. Then I sentenced the lion-shaped one to saw it up as kindling with his claws, and to throw it under the perpetually burning kiln. Now when I had worshipped the God of Israel, I ordered another demon to come forward. This time a 3-headed dragon with an awful skin appeared before me. I asked him, who are you? He said, I am a 3-pronged spirit, one who overpowers by means of 3 deeds. In the wombs of women I blind children. I also turn their ears around backwards and make them dumb and deaf. Finally, I strike men against the body and I make them fall down, foam at the mouth, and grind their teeth. But there is a way in which I am thwarted, namely by the sight which is marked, place of the skull. For there an angel of the wonderful counselor foresaw that I should suffer, and he will dwell publicly on the cross. He is the one who will thwart me, being the one among angels by whom I am subject. But at the place with which he ascended, King Solomon, he will erect a dark pillar formed on the air after Ephippus has brought gift from the Red Sea, from inside Arabia, and the foundation of the temple which you have begun to build. King Solomon, there is hidden away much gold. Dig it up and confiscate it. So I, Solomon, sent my servant and found that it was just as the demon told me. After I sealed him with the ring, I praised God. Next I said to him, tell me what you are called. The demon replied, head of the dragons. So I ordered him to make bricks for the temple of God. Then I ordered another demon to appear before me. There came before me one who had the shape of a woman, but she possessed as one of her traits the form of the one with disheveled hair. I said to her, who are you? She replied, and who are you? Or what need is there for you to inquire about the sorts of deeds I do? But if you want to inquire, go to the royal chambers, and after you have washed your hands, sit again on your throne and ask me, and then you will learn, king, who I am. When I had done this and had sat on my throne, I, Solomon, asked her and said, who are you? She replied, O Bizuth, I do not rest at night, but travel around the world, visiting women and divining the hour when they give birth. I search for them and strangle their newborn infants. I do not go through a single night without success. You are not able to give me orders. I even make the rounds and go into the remotest areas. Otherwise, my work is limited to killing newborn infants, injuring eyes, condemning mouths, destroying minds, and making bodies feel pain. When I, Solomon, heard these things, I was amazed. I did not look at her shape, for her body was darkness, and her hair savage. I, Solomon, said to her, tell me, evil spirit, by what angel are you thwarted? She said to me, by the angel Raphael. When the women give birth, write my name on a piece of papyrus, and I shall flee from them to the other world. When I heard these things, I ordered her to be bound by the hair and to be hung up in front of the temple, in order that all those sons of Israel who passed through and see might glorify the God of Israel, who had given me this authority. I again ordered another demon to appear before me. There came to me one who was in the form of a wallowing dragon, having the limbs of a dragon and wings on its back, but the face and feet of a man. When I saw him, I became amazed and said to him, who are you, and from where have you come? The spirit said to me, this is the first time I have stood before you, King Solomon, a spirit made a god among men, but thwarted by the seal which was given to you by God. Well, I am the so-called winged dragon. I do not copulate with many women, but with only a few who have beautiful bodies, who possess a name of Tuxedo, of this star. I rendezvous with them in the form of a winged spirit, copulating with them through their buttocks. One woman I attacked is bearing a child, and that which is born from her becomes Eros, because it could not be tolerated by men that women perished. This is my activity. Suppose then that I alone am content while the rest of the demons troubled by you, being downcast, should speak the whole truth. They will cause the stack of wood about to be gathered by you for construction in the temple to be consumed by fire. As the demon was saying these things, suddenly the breath coming out of his mouth set the forest of Lebanon on fire and burned up all the wood which was going into the temple of God. Now I, Solomon, saw what the Spirit had done, and I was amazed. After I glorified God, I asked the dragon-shaped demon, saying, Tell me, by what angel are you thwarted? He replied, By the great angel who is seated in the second heaven, whose name is called in Hebrew, Bazazoth. When I, Solomon, heard these things and invoked his angel, I condemned him to cut marble for the construction of the temple of God. Then I praised God and commanded another demon to come before me. Again, there came before me a spirit who had the shape of a woman, but on her shoulders were two separate heads with arms. I asked her, Tell me who you are. She answered, I am Enepsigos, but I am called by countless names. Then I said to her, By what angel are you thwarted? She responded to me, What are you after? What do you want? I can change my appearance, first being taken for a goddess, and then becoming one who has some other shape. In this regard, do not expect to know all things about me, but because you are here in my presence, listen to this. I hover near the moon, and because of this, I assume three forms. At times, I am conjured up as Kronos by the wise men. At other times, I descend around those who bring me down and appear in another form. The capacity of the heavenly body is invincible, incalculable, and impossible to thwart. At any rate, changing into three different forms, I also descend and become like what you see. I am thwarted by the angel Raphael, who takes his seat in the third heaven. On account of this, therefore, I say to you, this temple cannot contain me. Accordingly, when I, Solomon, had prayed to my God and invoked the angel Raphael, about whom he spoke, I made use of the seal and sealed her down with a triple link chain, and as I bound her down, I made use of the seal of God. Then the evil spirit prophesied to me, saying, You are doing these things to us now, King Solomon, but after a period of time your kingdom shall be divided. And still a later time this temple shall be destroyed, and all Jerusalem shall be demolished by the kings of the Persians and Medes and Chaldeans. Also the implements of this temple which you are making shall serve other gods. Along with these events also all the vessels in which you have entrapped us shall be broken in pieces by the hands of men. Then we shall come forth with much power, and we shall be scattered here and there throughout the world. We will lead astray all the inhabited world for a long time, until the Son of God is stretched upon the cross. For there has not yet arisen a king like him, one who thwarts all of us, whose mother shall not have sexual intercourse with a man, who holds such authority over the spirits except that one, the one whom the first devil shall seek to tempt, but shall not be able to overcome, the letters of whose names add up to 644. He is Emmanuel. Because of this, King Solomon, your time is evil, your years are short, and your kingdom shall be given to your servant. When I, Solomon, heard these things, I glorified God. Though I was amazed at the defense of the demons, I distrusted them and did not believe the things which were said by them until they occurred. But when they happened, then I understood, and at my death I wrote this testament to the sons of Israel, and I gave it to them, that they might know the powers of the demons and their forms, as well as the names of the angels by which they are thwarted. When I had glorified the God of Israel, I commanded the spirit to be bound up with unbreakable bonds. When I had praised God, I commanded another spirit to appear before me. There came before me another demon who had the form of a horse in front and a fish in the back. He said in a great voice, King Solomon, I am a cruel spirit of the sea. I rise up and come in the open seas with the sea, and I trip up the greater number of men who sail on it. I raise myself up like a wave, and being transformed, I come against the ships. For this is my activity, to receive beneath the sea treasures and men. For I raise myself up, take men, and hurl them under the sea. So I am always lusting after their bodies. But until now, I have been casting the treasures out of the sea. However, since Beelzebul, the ruler of the spirits of the air and the earth and beneath the earth, gives advice about the activities with respect to each one of us, I therefore came up out of the sea to have some consultation with him. But I also have another reputation and activity. I change myself into waves, come up from the sea, and show myself to men. They call me Kunapegos, because I change myself into a man. The name is true to me. Moreover, I cause a type of seasickness when I pass into men. So when I came in for a consultation with the ruler, Beelzebul, he bound me up and delivered me into your hands. Now I am standing before you. Because of not having water for 2 or 3 days, my spirit is ceasing from speaking to you. So I said to him, Tell me, by what angel are you thwarted? He replied, By IMF. Then I ordered him to be cast into a broad, flat bowl, and 10 receptacles of seawater to be poured over it. I fortified the top side all around with marble, and I unfolded and spread asphalt, pitch, and hemp rope around over the mouth of the vessel. When I had sealed it with the ring, I ordered it to be stored away in the temple of God. I ordered another spirit to appear before me. There came a spirit having the shadowy form of a man and gleaming eyes. I asked him, saying, Who are you? He replied, I am a lecherous spirit of a giant man who died in a massacre at the age of giants. So I said to him, Tell me what you accomplish on earth and where you make your dwelling. He replied, My home is in inaccessible places. My activity is this. I seat myself near dead men in the tombs, and at midnight I assume the form of the dead man. If I seize anyone, I immediately kill him with a sword. If I seize anyone, I immediately kill him with a sword. If I should not be able to kill him, I cause him to be possessed by a demon and to gnaw his own flesh to pieces and the saliva of his jowls to flow down. So I said to him, Fear me, because I am afraid of it. I quickly turn and flee from him. This is the sign of the cross. When I heard these things, I, Solomon, locked up the demon just like the other demons. Then I commanded another demon to appear before me. There came to me 36 heavenly bodies, their heads like formless dogs. But there were among them those who were in the form of humans, or of bulls, or of dragons, with faces like the birds, or the beasts, or the sphinx. When I, Solomon, saw these beings, I asked them, saying, Well, who are you? All at once, with one voice, they said, We are 36 heavenly bodies, the world rulers of the darkness of this age. But you, king, are not able to harm us or to lock us up. But since God gave you authority over all the spirits of the air, the earth, and the regions beneath the earth, we have also taken our place before you like the other spirits. Then I, Solomon, summoned the first spirit and said to him, Who are you? He replied, I am the first decan of the zodiac, and I am called Ruax. I cause heads of men to suffer pain, and I cause their temples to throb. Should I hear only Michael imprison Ruax, I retreat immediately. The second said, I am called Barsapel, resided in my time period to have pains on the sides of their heads. Should I hear Gabriel imprison Barsaphael, I retreat immediately. The third said, I am called Artosael. I do much damage to the eyes. Should I hear Uriel imprison Artosael? I retreat immediately. The fourth said, I am called Oropel. I attack throats, resulting in sore throat. Cause the ears to have obstructions. If I should hear Uriel imprisoned Chiral Oxydalon, I retreat immediately. The sixth said, I am called Sphendonael. I produce tumors of the parotid gland and tetanic recurvation. If I hear Sabael imprison Sphendonalon, I repeat immediately. The seventh said, I am called Spendor. I weaken the strength of the soldiers and deaden the nerves of the hand, and I make limbs paralyzed. If I hear Ariel imprisons Spendor, I retreat immediately. The eighth said, I am called Belbel. I pervert the hearts of the minds of men. If I hear Karael imprison Belbel, I retreat immediately. The ninth said, I am called Kuratael. I send forth colics into the bowels. If I should hear Eof imprison Cortael, I retreat immediately. The tenth said, I am called Metathiax. I cause pains in the kidneys. If I hear Adoniel imprison Metathiax, I retreat immediately. The 11th said, I am called Katanikutel. I unleash fights and feuds in homes. If anyone wishes to make peace, let him write on 7 laurel leaves. Do not stand fast. Do not be fervent, because Solomon is fairer than 11 fathers. I retreat immediately. The 15th said, I am called Subelti. I unleash shivering and numbness. If I only hear Rizoel imprison Subelti, I retreat immediately. The 16th said, I am called Catrax. I inflict incurable fevers on men. If anyone wants to regain health, let him pulverize coriander and rub it on his lips, saying, I adjure you by Zeus, retreat from the image of God, and I retreat immediately. The 17th said, I am called Europa. I sit on the stomach of man and cause convulsions. In the bath and on the street I find a man and make him fall to the ground. Whoever says into the right ear of the afflicted for the 3rd time, Iuda Zizabel, you see, makes me retreat. The 18th said, I am called Mudabel. I separate wife from husband. If anyone writes the names of the 8 fathers and places them on the doorways, I retreat immediately. The 19th said, I am called Mark-Darrell. I retreat immediately. The 19th said, I am called Mark-Darrell. I inflict incurable fevers. Write my name in some such way in the house, and I retreat immediately. The 24th said, I am called